As we end 2023, I just want to personally thank those of you who have been generous financial contributors to the mission of Centerpoint over this last year. And I want to invite some of you to maybe step up and be a part of that for the first time as we end this year. And what many of you know is that when you give, you make a direct impact into helping us create an alternative to church as usual for all people through your planned percentage priority giving. And the thing you've heard me say is most of the time you never really get to see the full impact of that generosity. But here's the thing, every baptism story that we celebrate, every student whose life has been transformed, every marriage that's reconciled, every individual who comes back to faith in Jesus, they've been directly impacted by those who are giving financially to this mission. And this has been an incredible year in the life of our church. But in a lot of ways, we believe that 2024 for us will be an historic year in the life of our movement. And so next year, we have some really big vision around what we believe God wants to do over and above our regular operational budget to reach some people that nobody else is reaching. And our goal, as you've maybe heard me say, is unapologetically to turn this city and eventually this region upside down with the life and freedom in Jesus, that God has given us a very unique stewardship in our area. And so here are a few things that we are specifically praying happens next year through year-end giving. And the first one is this, and maybe you heard me talk about it at Celebration Sunday. We have a vision to increase our budget for kids and students. Our vision is to raise our kids and students budget by about $60,000 next year because of the growth that we've experienced. And specifically, our CC students environment has grown by over 30% over this last year. And our CC kids environment every single Sunday averages the equivalent of 45% of our adult attendance on Sundays. The national average is about 20%. We're reaching so many kids who love coming to church. And so specifically, we're gonna need to hire additional paid staff to keep up with that growth over this next year. And so we believe that the faith of the next generation, as you've heard me say, it's worth everything. So we're willing to invest everything we can in it. And then the second thing that year-end giving specifically is gonna go toward is to add space for our CC kids. As a result of the tremendous growth in CC kids over this last year, we're at 80% capacity on just normal Sundays throughout the year. On some Sundays, we've been at 90+% capacity. And so that's not sustainable long-term to provide great spaces for kids to connect in a relationship with Jesus. So our year-end giving is actually gonna help us create the initial blueprints to renovate and to add to our CC kids space. And so our vision is actually to communicate all of those plans of that project by sometime in the beginning of 2024 and begin that project in 2024 or by the beginning of 2025, because this is a necessity for our long-term ability to reach kids. And then the third thing is we need to provide more space for adults. Our adult attendance has grown by over 20% this last year. On some Sundays, we are up several hundred people year over year. And so you can only imagine what that's gonna look like in a year or 2 years from now. We are quickly moving to 80% capacity on just average Sundays. And once you get to that place, it starts to become kind of a crisis mode. So we have to begin to look at creating more space now. And actually, we've been doing that for several years. And we believe that we have an incredible option to actually be able to renovate this space to more than double the capacity, to add stadium seating in the back and be able to do it being great steward of our financial resources. And so year-end giving is also gonna help us create the initial blueprints to expand our auditorium space, more than double it to be able to continue to reach people in our community over the next several years. It'll also create the initial blueprints for that CC Kids space. Now all accounts for about $80,000, which a lot of our year-end giving is gonna go directly to that. And so I just wanna say your support through year-end giving really has nothing to do with this year. It has everything to do with making our vision a reality as we move into the next year. Really, our dreams for what God wants to do in 2024 hinge a lot on how we end 2023. And so I'd love for you to just consider two specific things as we close out the year. The first one is that you would consider giving a year-end gift over and above regular giving by December the 31st to help make 2024 an historic year in our ministry to reach people that nobody else is reaching. And then secondly, if you haven't yet, I want to invite you, maybe for the first time, maybe you're new over the last 6 months as part of our church, that you would create a plan to support your church financially next year. The easiest way to do that is recurring giving. My family and hundreds of others do that, but you would choose a percentage, you would give it as a priority, and you would turn some of your stuff into stories to impact our city and beyond. And so to make a year-end gift, you can do it via the information below, either on the app, the website, or you can mail in a gift. But as we conclude, I just want to say this. Thank you in advance for those of you who for the first time are going to step in and give over this next year, maybe give a year-end gift. And thank you in advance for those who are already doing that, for making this next year an historic year in the life of our church. And I don't honestly believe there is any better investment than being a part of a generational impact of a church that is on mission. That's what you're a part of. We are uniquely a part of reaching people that nobody else is reaching. So thank you in advance for what you're going to do through year-end giving and for the impact that it's about to have.